There's lots to talk about this week on Boomer Bongo Bandstand.
Welcome to Boomer Bongo Boulevard. I'm Mike Just Mike. Along with me is Ron Just Ron. We talk about Boomer stuff and other things. We mainly just talk, and we're glad to have you here with us as we talk. It's season 3, Ron, episode 6, overall number 96. We're bearing down on number 100.
We're getting there, man. We're
hanging in there, Ron, even though we have almost no success for those 12 or 13 people like Hubert who
it's like it's a roller coaster. It's like one week it's 800, the next week it's 28.
I know.
I don't know.
We almost hit 1,000 people on our one of our latest videos, and then we're down to what, 26, 27.
Who knows? This one might go to 1 million. One of them will. One of these days. I have faith.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit that up thumbs up thing, and I guess it helps a little bit. We're coming back no matter what.
So yeah, we're gonna be here. We don't care.
Hey, I'll tell you what we're talking about this week is American Bandstand, and
a part of most everybody's Saturdays growing up for a long, long time. From at least when did it start? Like 56 until
years for American Bandstand, 1952. To 1989.
Wow.
But it wasn't on network TV for a while. Went to network TV in the late 50s, and that was the everyday version that got sent out. And I missed that. I don't really remember that. I was too small to remember that.
Yeah.
But that's a big part of what a lot of the older boomers remember about it. Is it was on every afternoon. It was kind of competed with cartoons. I guess there were some fights in some households between the 6-year-old and the 13-year-old or the 16-year-old who wanted to watch Bandstand. Yeah. But it started out in Philadelphia, moved to Los Angeles, and Dick Clark didn't even start out as the original host of American Bandstand, but he inherited the role because of the way I understand it, a drunk driving conviction on the part of somebody or an arrest, maybe not even a conviction, driving arrest, that the original host had, or one of the original hosts. And Dick got the job, and he just, once he had that thing, he held on to it and never let it go.
Like grim death.
He did. He knew when he had a good thing. And of course, Dick Clark ended up being a multi-zillionaire and a producer extraordinaire.
Massive producer of shows, man.
It's still got his name on, I guess, one television show, the New Year's Eve show. They still call it the
Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve.
Yep. Man, that's a legacy. That's a legacy.
He also founded the American Music Awards too.
Well, and the thing you like about Dick Clark, of course, he's passed on now, but he would be he kind of looked like an AI guy anyway. He looked like an AI creation anyhow. And he looked like he was the same age for 40 years. So
the world's oldest teenager is what they called him.
He was getting us ready for AI. He just didn't know it, and we didn't know it either. But they may bring Dick Clark back as an AI creature.
Yeah, if they would ever do anybody, he would be the one.
I don't even know if he's got enough family left to sue or anything else if there's suits to be had. But I don't know. What do you remember about American Bandstand? You got a little different perspective on it. You're younger than I am.
I remember different things. Like one of the things I remember is how they would always swap in the summer, and it would be like a different show, and they would like do it from the beach, and they always had like some kind of the ones I remember. You probably remember somebody different, but they would have like a house band, and for several summers, it was Bo Donaldson and the Haywoods, who were just terrible. But they had that one hit, Billy Don't Be a Hero. But other than that, they were kind of like the Bay City Rollers of their time. They were just.
I hated that song, Billy Don't Be a Hero.
Yeah.
I hated that song.
Oh, it was awful.
I do remember,
but it's one of those songs. It's so bad, it's kind of good almost.
Kind of good.
It's so bad, It's kind of like Seasons in the Sun. It's just one of those. It's like, but it's a car wreck. I got to listen.
Well, the uh, you mentioned the beaches, and that was kind of a precursor to the MTV
Yeah.
going to the beach for the summer.
Mhm. Yep.
I said the MTV, the rock and roll, and the MTV.
Yeah.
MTV going to the
Which
beach
kind of
house in the
killed
summer.
American
Sure.
Bandstand, actually. Yeah.
Dick Clark really was an innovator. He was always somebody who was looking for ways to improve things, and I think, I don't know if he looked at teenagers as. I think he was a guy that identified with teenagers. He
Hmm.
identified with young people, and you could kind of tell he had an affection for the dancers. But it was a
Hmm.
dance show. If there's
Yeah.
anybody here younger who doesn't know what American Bandstand was, it was a dance show. They played
Hmm.
records, they played music, and current music, hit music, or songs that were maybe going to be hits. Sometimes they were promoting songs, I'm sure. And well, I know they were.
Rate a record.
Radar record, yeah. Which,
Yeah. They were playing a
I
new
don't
song
ever.
that I had heard.
I went back and looked up some Radar records, quite a few of them, in fact.
Hmm.
And I know if they ever did one that became a gigantic hit, they would have. They'd have it on YouTube somewhere now, and I couldn't find any evidence of it. And I don't
I can
remember
tell you one right now that it became number one because
what.
I'll never forget it.
What?
Theme from SWAT.
Okay, that was on Radar record.
That was on Radar Record, and they
Wow.
rated it low, and a few weeks later, it became number one. I
Unless
remember
stand
that
corrected.
clear as day.
You would think a lot of them would become hits. They're
But they
getting
didn't.
featured on
Yeah.
American Bandstand, and they played like a minute worth of the song. It wasn't like
Yeah.
they played a 10-second snippet. But you know
Yeah.
what they did give us? Great record also gave us it's a great beat and easy to dance to.
Dance to, yeah. I liked it. It had a great beat, and it was easy to dance to.
And you would think they'd
That's
bring in, of
hilarious.
course, what would happen? They'd bring in two of the dancers, and usually a guy and a girl, not necessarily two that were together, that were there dancing together, but they'd bring them up and a little short interview with Dick Clark, and then they'd play a couple records, two of them, and play about a minute, I guess,
Yeah,
worth,
yeah.
and the dancers would dance to it, and the kids would give their opinion on it and rate it, and they would go, it's got a good beat. Everybody's dancing. Everybody seemed to be liking it. Or it didn't have a good beat, or it's not easy to dance to.
But
Dick,
that
I don't
just
think
became the cliche answer was,
Yeah. You would think they'd hate to say that, but they didn't seem to
they would
care.
spit it out
Yeah,
most of the time.
teenagers would rather fit in than that. And what was the other top 10? They didn't have that every
The
week.
dance contest every year.
The dance contest
That was
every year,
always
and they had the
big.
top 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember. I know it wasn't. They always on the dance contest. They used the same song every week,
Every time.
which was kind of fair. It'd let the dancers plan a little bit and come up with something that fit the music. But the song I remember being on the dance contest was this one summer, and I don't know why this one sticks in my head. I guess because it had a good beat and was easy to dance to. Was the Grassroots, Sooner or Later.
Yes.
And I don't know.
That's the one I always remember.
You can look those up on YouTube, by the way, several of the contests, and it's pretty funny. Some of it's pretty funny.
Now, I remember one of their competitors. I also remember their song, which we also had in a single because we just called them the drug freaks or something. It was it was a song called something The Express. Here it comes, the Express. Do, 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 do,
Doing hand?
They do all that, like
motions.
they were sun worshiping or whatever.
That's what they were doing. That's what they were up to. I got a few. 1963 was when American Bandstand moved to California, and it wasn't too long after that they started broadcasting in color. And the thing that I always watched American Bandstand for were the clothes, because I was a teenager. I wanted to see what they were wearing, and I figured out pretty quickly after seeing that, after watching the show for a while, watched it through my teenage years, but pretty quickly I figured out, they get the California kids get the clothing before we do, because
Oh
you'd
yeah.
see like everybody
That doesn't
would be
happen as
wearing.
much anymore with the internet, but
Oh yeah,
back
oh
then,
yeah,
oh yeah,
oh
you
they
had
would
to
be
catch it
wearing
there.
Nehru jackets. All of a sudden, all the guys would be wearing Nehru jackets, and you go, man, I
Yep.
got to get one of those Nehru jackets. And you'd start looking around. There were no Nehru jackets in sight where
Yeah.
we lived, and 6 months later, there were no Nehru jackets in sight. And they've been wearing Nehru jackets for a year on American Bandstand before they showed up anywhere else. And then you're going, you'd almost forgotten about it. And you'd walk in the store and they'd go, you'd almost, oh my gosh, they're here. They're finally here. Give me two. You take your little money and buy yourself a Nehru jacket. No. And you know what, Ron? I still think Nehru jackets look great. And I'm blaming
Yeah, they
American
do. They're
Bandstand.
cool. They
I
always
need
have
to
been
get my.
cool.
Well, they call them. They actually still have them, but they call them what they call banded collars now.
Yeah, yeah.
The banded and cowboys wear them. You know, guys getting a cowboy outfit
Hey, I
together.
tell you, man, Peter Tork never stopped wearing stuff like that.
No. He was wearing that
Because
stuff.
I saw him in 2016, like 3 years before he died. He was still wearing paisley. He was still wearing,
Why not?
Nehru type collar. He didn't care. He just loved it, and he stuck with it, man. Oh, Peter was an old hippie, man.
I've still got a turtleneck. I occasionally, when it's cold, I won't throw it out because it does keep my neck warm. So,
Oh, I used to love turtlenecks. I don't have any anymore, and I used to love sweaters a lot, and I don't have many of those anymore.
you got to get a turtleneck, just like I said, just for the cold day. In fact, I've got two turtlenecks. I just happened to think about it. I've got one really heavy one, and but boy, on a cold day, those turtleneck creators knew what they were doing.
I just go with the muffler, man.
You know what we missed out on. We both missed out on because it was in the early days of American Bandstand. The dancers they always had regular dancers on American Bandstand, but in the early days when it was on every day, people managed to learn the names of a lot of the dancers and the regular
like
couple
storyline with them or something.
They I looked there were two. There was one couple out of all the couples on American Bandstand that people knew the names of. There was a couple, Lenny and Betty. And they were the only ones out of all of them that got married.
Oh, wow.
They eventually got a divorce. So out of all that tells you something about teenage love, doesn't it? Out of all the couplings on the TV, only one of those ever lasted even a little bit, long enough to get married. Once they moved out to California, I only remember knowing the name. I only learned the name of one dancer, and they did have regular dancers. There were people you recognized, but there was this guy named. His first name was Famous, and he was a pretty good-looking guy, and he was on a lot and had a great personality. And Dick Clark brought him up for you remember the spotlight dance? They would do the spotlight dance every show, and Famous would often be one of the spotlight dancers. Pretty good dancer, I guess. And it didn't seem to have to dance with the same girl all the time. He had different girls he danced with, and but he was it. And I looked him up not long ago. He's still alive, or he was when I looked him up, and he's out in Hollywood. I think he might be a teacher or a retired teacher or something like that. But the regular dancers were part of the appeal. I think the clothes, the regular dancers, of course, the dances they did. Now you could get those going the next week. You could see a pretty cool dance on American Bandstand, and then when there was a school dance, maybe the next week or 2 weeks down the road, you didn't have to wait a year for that to take hold. You could be the cutting edge dancer if nobody else was doing the dance. You could be the first one to do the new dance, whatever that was, the swim or the boogaloo or some of the other stuff people did. What else do you remember about it?
When you were talking about the dancers, I was thinking about one that was immortalized by the Celtics during their 2007-2008 title run. And they used to show this clip from American Bandstand, and they called it Geno Time. I cannot remember the song they played, but they would show a clip from American Bandstand.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and there was this guy that everybody would go bananas every time they showed him because he was wearing a T-shirt that had Gino Vanelli on it.
Oh, okay.
And he would just kind of like look at the camera, and dance it. And they called called it Geno time, and they would play that clip whenever they were like behind or needed a rally. The place would go wild, and so that's
I thought you
some
were going to
pop
say.
culture, sports fusion, American Bandstand stuff there.
I thought you were going to bring up Chubby Checker and the Twist, because I do remember seeing Chubby Checker
No,
on American
every
Bandstand
Celtic
more than once.
fan knows Geno time.
We talked about Raider Record, the top 10, the dance contest.
Now, here's another thing. When they would dedicate an entire show to an artist, now he didn't do that very often, but he got where he did that in the 70s a lot.
Okay.
And one I remember, it's kind of funny now looking back because they're kind of a joke in a lot of ways. I remember him dedicating an entire show to the Village People. And of course, being a little kid, I was like, oh, Village People are great.
Yeah, sure.
Because they had a great beat and they were easy to dance to, And
sure.
I was like, 10 or something, So
yeah, in 1972, I looked up, and I guess this is our song of the week.
Yeah.
I can remember for some reason. I think a lot of I really connected with American Bandstand more in the summer and when it got warmer and when it was nicer. But there was a song called "Me and Mrs. Jones." It was a #1 song by Billy Paul, and biggest hit Billy Paul ever had. It was a song written by Hippie Gilbert, Kenny Gamble, and Leon Huff, and it was kind of a little racy song. "Me and Mrs. Jones" was about a guy having an affair. They were both married, and that song discusses it. And it was a story song. I don't know if we ever mentioned that when we did our story song episode a couple years ago, but Billy Paul and it was a great song, and I always liked Billy Paul's vocal, and I could just remember him singing it on American Bandstand, and they had him up on a pedestal, and one of the props that they used for their individual singers, and just going through that and how much the kids liked the song on the show. It was released on CBS Records, and the other person I remember being on there that I really associate with American Bandstand. Well, two people. Jackson Browne. I distinctly remember hearing "Doctor My Eyes" for the first time on American Bandstand. And it was just such a good song. And made me a Jackson Browne fan immediately. And the other guy was Prince.
I was going to mention Prince. The first time I ever saw him.
Oh, Prince was
so
a weasel.
Rude.
Oh, well, you remember the backstory. He would barely talk to Dick Clark, and he had made a bet with somebody, one of the band members, before they went out, or somebody that was associated with his crew, that he would say less than 6 words to Dick Clark when he did the interview. And he just looked at Dick Clark and would give like a 1-word answer. And Dick Clark didn't know what to make of it. And I'll tell you what, I noticed, I thought, a little hostility on the part of Dick Clark. Always toward Prince after that. And maybe I imagined it, but I don't think I did, because it would make me a little hostile. You're trying to do a guy a favor. You got him on the show. You brag about him. You bring him out. He sings whatever song it was. It was
and then
his first
for a bet.
And then he's like, just looks at you.
Prince was pretty damn confident, and he had that button that said "Rude Boy" on it. It was Prince in his early days there, man.
But it faded out.
Here's my song of the week, and this is very apropos song.
Okay.
Barry Manilow, "Bandstand Boogie."
Bandstand Boogie. We'll go with
yet another show where they dedicated an entire show to an artist, and they dedicated an entire show to Barry Manilow. And that's where I found out that he wrote all those commercials and stuff, because he did them all during the whole show. And then he said, "Well, I've been working on one for you, Dick." Said, "I decided to do some lyrics to the American Bandstand, That's where he did that. We've been a Philadelphia way, Bandstand, and that became the theme song after that.
Now, and Barry Manilow did not write the music. That music had been in existence, but he just laid the lyrics over the
Mm-hmm.
existing theme
Yeah.
song that they'd used
And they
on
actually
American
had
Bandstand.
several theme songs over the years.
Yeah, but the one that you're talking about is the one I think everybody associates with the show
Oh yeah.
because they had the instrumental version that was used for a long time, and then
Yeah.
the Barry Manilow one that ran almost to the end of the show. By the way, the show wrapped up, had their last broadcast in 1989, and maybe somebody's thinking, well, if you guys liked it so much and teenagers loved the show so much, and we did, why did it end? Why did they just get a new host? Well, the theory is MTV killed it,
Yeah, it did.
and cable and more music shows and teenagers. You didn't have to watch American Bandstand as one of those places where you found out about music anymore. And Dick Clark was getting a little long in the tooth,
Yeah.
and he looked a little. He started looking like he was trying a little bit too hard to
Yeah.
look young, and I just it was just a show. My favorite kind of show. It's the kind of it's like westerns. It was just this time and place for it for a
Yeah.
while,
Exactly.
and it really fit in. And then after a while, it didn't quite make as much sense as it had made before.
It's just like shows now. Like shows now don't make as much sense to. It doesn't make sense to do 24 episodes anymore because nobody's going to invest that long.
No,
They're just
well,
not.
I think you would on some shows that you like, so
Yeah.
particularly comedies, half-hour
Yeah.
comedies, but they're never coming back to that.
No,
I've kind of
it's
gotten used
gone.
to it's a little like 5 or 6 episode sections, and then they take a few weeks off, and then
yeah, it's
more,
like
and then a summer off.
well, like one of my favorite shows, Saint Dennis did like 12, and then
Yeah,
took like 3 months off, and
Yeah.
I think they're coming back and doing like 10 more or something.
oh
Maybe.
yeah,
So maybe they're
yeah.
but
We're changing the subject slightly, but yeah, boy, when they first television was young, it was nothing for a television program to have 31 episodes, 32 episodes.
and 36 and
Yeah,
stuff.
and just go, just enough now that would last us a lifetime.
Yeah.
But American Bandstand, tipping my hat to Dick Clark and American
Absolutely.
Bandstand, and
Same here.
and the Dick Clark dynasty. In fact, this is Boomer Bongo Boulevard, and we will be back next week to talk about some more Boomer stuff, or maybe just some things that interest us. I'm Mike Just Mike, and there's Ron Just Ron.